Joseph is a tour consultant by profession, a role he studied to make money. In the past couple of months, however, the tourism business has faced grave challenges from COVID-19 and got him out of the white-collar job market. Today, Joseph has turned into a commercial farmer, a skill set he had acquired for a rainy day. He has successfully planted a Victory Jinga garden to combat the corona effects on his job. Tonight on the show, Jinga saves the day after tourism crashes under COVID-19. Coming up on Seeds of Gold.
Well, why I chose Jinga, it is because it doesn't need a lot of attention, doesn't need a lot of presence of the farmer. It is easy. Let me say it's easy. You cannot compare Jinga with passion fruit.
Jinga is a hibiscus perennial plant that is widely used as a spice, an additive, and an alternative medicine to certain ailments. It's quite popular and easy to grow. For this reason, many grow the crop, but few think of growing a fortune garden out of it. Luckily for Joseph, this was his escape plan. This is his journey.
My name is Joseph Mlondo. I'm a tour consultant by professional, but I'm a Jinga farmer. Thing that I've done since 2013. Well, what you need to know is tourism is seasonal and farming is also seasonal. So they don't collide. And the fact that you cannot survive on one source of income, I added on this Jinga plant. And it does well for me. Well, I was inspired by friends and relatives in our home village where I used to go. But that was in 2012. In 2013, I started it myself with 1 acre. Well, why I chose Jinga? It is because it doesn't need a lot of attention, it doesn't need a lot of presence of the farmer. It is easy. Let me say it's easy. You cannot compare Jinga with passion fruit, which needs the farmer around. Jinga you plant, and then you can go ahead with your other business. You only time yourself when to spray, when to weed, such things. If you take caution in those areas, you can do it. So it's not, it's not giving me a hard time to maintain. I started with 1 acre just to see how it works out, because it was my first time. And honestly speaking, it did well. So I was inspired more. I decided to increase from 1 acre to added to 3 acres, and it was also very good. So it has always been, inspiring me to add on and add on because of the, the harvest and the yields. Well, in 1 acre, I planted four bags of seeds. It was around 700,000 a bag. I managed to harvest, if I remember very well, it was around between 45 bags in that 1 acre. And this was, amazing to me. I sold them, and each bag I sold, it was 480, honestly speaking. So this inspired me to, increase on the size of the land. The source of income is, of course, tourism, because that's what I've started and what I was doing. So I tried to invest little of it. Actually, in 1 acre, it was a test one, I should say it that way. But I was so amazed.
Inspired by friends, encouraged by the low-risk investment, Joseph took his steps into growing Jinga. Today, he gladly owns a 5-acre piece of vibrant Jinga garden. These are the key learnings from his experience.
In the first acre, there was a lot of learning, a lot of studying, because I was new in it. But the advantage is there was guidance from people who are experienced in this product. So I made use of them, I consulted, and that's how I managed to, succeed. I didn't see any, you know, I didn't face problems in the first time because there were people who were guiding me. The only thing I can say it is putting in, because I had to hire my land, I had to buy seeds and labor. That's the only thing, you know. Well, there are several things I've learned in Jinga farming, but it's not so much in season what I've learned. No, it is what kind of methods are you applying? Which seeds are you going to plant? There are those two main things. But the seeds, if you're to plant Jinga, you need seeds that have grown from 1 year and above. Because if it is not grown to that stage, it's not going to give you good results. It will either rot in the soil or it will not come out. So seed is a very important factor in Jinga planting. If you don't get good seeds, you will not get good harvests. And the other thing that I've seen is the most important thing is starting. When you start something with guidance, you can do it well. Because as I told you, I started with 1 acre. I was of course kind of fearing what will happen, but there was guidance around me.
Capital is a key investment for many startup farmers. Seeds, pesticides, land and labor are some of the major resources needed to start a good farm. Joseph breaks down the ease of investment on Jinga and why you should consider getting into the business.
Jinga planting is affordable. The only expensive thing that I see myself is the seeds, because the seeds are expensive, you know, a bit pricey. But the rest of the things like spraying, pesticides, they are affordable. You'll find that in 1 acre, I will use pesticides worth 60,000 to 80,000 every time I spray in 1 acre. And I spray twice a month. So if we look at 80,000 per time I spray, that's 160. It's affordable. Then the next spray will be in the next month. So it's not that hard, anyone can do it.
Coming up, growing, harvesting and finding the money in Jinga. Jinga is one of the easiest plants to grow from scraps. Plant a piece of Jinga root in potting soil. Make sure the buds are facing up. New shoots and roots will appear soon. It sounds that simple until the plant fails to grow. Joseph recommends following the steps to avoid the losses. Step 1. Preparing the seed. Every plant is unique in terms of how much room is needed to readily access nutrient in the ground and enough sunlight.
When we are planting, we prepare the seeds. We only harvest these seeds when it's time for planting them. We don't harvest them and stock them in store. No. We get them from the garden. After getting them, we break them nodes by nodes because they have nodes. So after we break them, then we sun dry them. After sun drying them, like if it's too much sunshine once, then after you may decide to keep them in a cool environment, or we dig a hole where we cover these seeds from for at least 1 week or 10 days. Cover them well. Then after those 10 days, they bring out the nodes. Then that's a sign that they are ready to be planted. So it takes a process to prepare the seeds themselves. Get good seeds. This is the biggest risk. You find that a sack of seeds costs at the moment 720,000 shillings, ready seeds. But you'll find another person buying jinga, which is for consumption, jinga of 7 months, and tries to use it as seeds because it's cheap. That's the biggest risk. So, well, what makes the other product of 1 year plus a seed is because it has grown fully enough. It's just like a human being. When you're young, you cannot reproduce, but when you grow old, you can reproduce. So that is the same to this plant. If you plant jinga of 7 months, it's not yet strong enough to produce more other. So that's why we have to leave it to grow at least 1 year plus. Why the seed is a very important thing in jinga? Because this is what is supposed to give you the multiple other buds. You are expecting a small piece of ginger to give you at least 5 kg. So if you don't plant the right seed, how is that possible?
Step 2. Spacing.
Digging holes where, holes where you're going to plant these jinga seeds. You space it with at least 2 or 3 inches. Because in the end, what you've planted is going to expand. It's going to produce more products. So you give it enough space where it can grow. If you have planted beans, how they prepare the garden of beans, how you plant beans, the same way you plant this. The only thing here, we only put 1 piece in 1 hole. Planting stages, we do apply fertilizers. You can either use coffee huskes or chicken waste. But I strongly recommend coffee husks. Sometimes if you're using chicken waste, you have to be knowledgeable enough what kind of chicken waste. It doesn't have to be so wet, it has to be dry. So such precautions may not, other farmers may not take in of them, they'll just pour chicken waste. But coffee husks, when you buy them, you apply them. You can put them before planting or after planting. Then the other thing is you give it a month after planting. That 1 month you are in holiday. You're not doing anything on your farm.
Jinga is a low ground growing plant, which means it will compete with the weeds for nutrients. Joseph suggests weeding as follows.
After a month, then you start checking it. You'll see that the plant is now starting to come out slowly by slowly. Then towards 2 months, then that's when you start weeding, because that stage you will have a lot of weeds by then. And when you're weeding, you use your hands, not the hoe, at that first stage. If you use a hoe, you'll end up cutting the ones that are coming out, because they'll be small and they may not be so visible. So that's why we advise that you use hands. Then the next weeding, you will use the hoe. After 2 months, you start spraying, because now the leaves are out. They start coming out. You start spraying twice a month. So look at these 2 months of maturity. You've only done the weeding. You're not spending on spraying. You're not on pressure. You start spraying from towards the end of the 2nd month. That's twice a month. So we look at the 3rd month. You've done it twice a month. When you reach to the stage of 6 or 7 months, for example here, this is 6 months. We have given up with spraying now. We are now letting it be. So you'll end up seeing that you're spraying for only 5 or 4 months in the whole season.
With appropriate care and support, your jinga will be ready for uprooting.
At the stage of 7 months, jinga is ready for harvest and it's ready for market. That is jinga for consumption, not jinga for seeds. If you're doing jinga for seeds, you have to wait 1 year and above. But still you stop on the 6th month from spraying and weeding. You let it be, but you leave it in the garden for another year. But if you're planting jinga for consumption like tea, biscuits, sodas, etc., 6 and 7 months you already have the buyers inquiring if you're selling. Then it's ready. However, sometime if we are to follow the exact, timing, we have to let these leaves dry and let them dry off as if it's a bush. You let the weeds grow wild. That's towards the end of the seventh month, towards the end of the 7th and 8th month. Then for the seeds, it will totally dry. And when you harvest both of them, there's a difference.
At this point, many farmers are asking, is there a ready market for jinga?
Jinga has really enough market. Because you may see I started with 1 acre, kept on adding. It's not only me doing it, there are other people doing it. So the more you do it, the more you get inspired to expand because there is market. First of all, jinga is not harvested by me. The buyer comes and pays me from the farm. I'm not responsible for harvesting, uprooting, pack it in the sacks and take it to town. No, they buy it from me. We sell this jinga in different parts, especially in Kenya and Tanzania. They are the buyers of my jinga personally. However, in Uganda here, it's less. It's less because they use it for tea, it's not too commercial. We don't always focus on the domestic buyers. It is taken outside of the country, especially Kenya and Tanzania, because for them they have machines that pound it, in a better form and resell it. Yes, we've heard it from the World Health Organization that this is one of the food they have recommended people to use during this time. So that means demand will increase. If you do it now, where there are less people involved, we assume, then you are more likely to double the price because the supply will be less and the demand will be the same.
Mulondo defines this moment as the perfect opportunity to grow jinga on a commercial scale.
Any person who would love to start this product, this is the right time. It looks like it's not the right time, but it's the right time. When all farmers are, most of these other farmers are wondering whether should we start or not, that is when you should start. The fact that we've been in this, pandemic, many of them have used their capital, let me say it that way. Many of them are, wondering what next. That is when you do it. So this is the good thing of not relying on one source of income. The pandemic has affected the tourism sector, which I studied, and it is down. Everyone can see. No movements, no traveling, no what. But jinga, being an agribusiness, it hasn't, because during this pandemic, farmers have been allowed to move. So I was able to check on my farm. I was able to spray because even the shops for the pesticides were allowed to open. And lucky enough, what I'm planting is needed in the general life.
Joseph's vision is to invest more in the business to process the root jinga into powder so that he can make even more money from the manufacturers. COVID has affected many livelihoods and equally creates new opportunities to those ready to invest. Start today. Start now.